My topic here is diet for cancer. Now, friends, it's very important to be very cautious of your eating habits. Friends, remember a principle of naturopathy, or you can say a principle of food therapy, that whatever food you eat is either good or bad for your system. There's not even one foodstuff on this planet Earth which has a neutral effect as it enters your system. So that means whatever we are eating is either doing some good to us or it might be doing some harm to us. So it's very important to be cautious about our eating habits. There's a principle of food therapy which states your kitchen is your pharmacy. That means there are so many good foodstuffs in our kitchen which can have a great healing effect on our system. Now, friends, as far as diet for cancer is concerned, number one, you should remember that avoid having sugar. Because even if we talk about Johns Hopkins Institute, which is one of the best in the world for cancer, that has categorically said that cancer cells thrive on sugar. So if you're eating those foodstuffs which have a high glycemic index or a high glycemic load, that means they are going to be feeding the cancer cells inside. Friends, if you want to know the glycemic index of any foodstuff, you can just Google the name of the foodstuff and just mention GI in front of that, and that will tell you what is the glycemic index of that foodstuff. As a general rule, foodstuffs which have a glycemic index between 0 to 55 are good. Foodstuffs which have a glycemic index between 55 to 70, that's a moderate glycemic index, and a glycemic index above 70 is dangerous. So for cancer patients, it's good to have those foodstuffs which have a glycemic index less than 55. Friends, so remember to avoid sweets, chocolates, pastries, avoid the donuts, avoid the ice creams, avoid the cakes, avoid the milkshakes, because these foodstuffs have a high glycemic index. So your cancer cells are going to feed in such foodstuffs. So remember, foodstuffs which have a high glycemic index, try to completely avoid them because you're going to be feeding your cancer cells. Again, friends, remember to have those foodstuffs which are not mucus promoting. See, there are many foodstuffs like shakes, curds, saturated fats, whole milk, which are mucus promoting. And again, even Johns Hopkins Institute, which is one of the best in the world, it has categorically mentioned that cancer cells feed on a mucus-like environment. So try to avoid all those foodstuffs which are mucus promoting. Again, try to avoid those foodstuffs which are acidic in nature, because cancer cells thrive in an acidic-like environment. If you will have foodstuffs which are acidic in nature, the cancer cells would grow over there. Friends, as far as your food intake is concerned, there are many important foodstuffs what cancer patients must include in the diet, and one of those is berries. Now the berry family has several important berries like blueberry, blackberry, cranberry, strawberry, raspberry, acai berry, so many of them. Now the purple hue pigment, what you see on top of the berries, like the blueberry is purple in color, or the red hue pigment which you find in berries like raspberries, strawberries, that is because of a very strong anthocyanin antioxidant present in it. So the name of the antioxidant is anthocyanin. This is a flavonoid and a very strong antioxidant which is highly anti-cancerous in nature. So friends, try to increase your intake of berries. Have a platter full of berries every single day if you're suffering from cancer. Berries are a very important fruit as far as cancer is concerned. Try to increase your intake of all these very important berries. They are a nutritional powerhouse. They're loaded with other antioxidants also, like quercetin, ellagic acid, chlorogenic acid. These are all very important antioxidants, what you're going to find in berries. So increase your intake of berries for sure. I myself had cancer 3 times and I had to completely change my eating habits in order to accelerate the healing process. Friends, apart from berries, work on pomegranate. Pomegranate again is a very important foodstuff, a very important fruit for cancer. It's loaded with an antioxidant called as punicalagins. Now, punicalagins is a very strong antioxidant and which is highly anti-cancerous in nature. Apart from punicalagins, you also have catechins present in pomegranate. Now, catechin is the antioxidant what we find in green tea, and we also find that in pomegranate. And pomegranate is loaded with catechins also. Apart from that, another very important polyphenol antioxidant called as ellagic acid is also present in pomegranate. So friends, remember to increase your intake of pomegranate. Pomegranate is highly anti-cancerous in nature and it has a very high ORAC value. Now friends, try to understand what ORAC value means. ORAC means oxygen radical absorbance capacity. Every foodstuff on this planet Earth which is healthy, it has a good ORAC value. Now the higher the ORAC value of a foodstuff, the better it's going to be for you. And pomegranate has a very good high ORAC value. Now apart from these two fruits, another very important one is called sour sop. It's also called as graviola. It's also called as durian fruit. Now sour sop is again loaded with quercetin, a very important antioxidant which helps in beating cancer. Now you can also find sour sop leaves and you can make a herbal tea out of the sour sop leaves. It's very simple how to make it. Just take about 5 to 7 sour sop leaves. They're like big ones, elongated ones, and just put them in a liter of water on your gas burner. So just take a utensil, put about a liter of water in it and put about 5 to 7 sour sop leaves in it and heat it until the water becomes half in it. Once the water becomes half, just cover the utensil and let it steep for about 10 minutes so that the nutrients get nicely dissolved in it. And then try to have the sour sop leaves tea every morning. Again, this is very good for cancer and it's loaded with important antioxidants. So friends, try to make these small changes in your diet. I'll be further making videos on diet for cancer and I hope to see you all soon. So do take care of yourselves and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.